The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is the community that doing.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Thursday, the 26th day of March, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can do this with you and pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamel Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling today? Happy Thursday, or Friday Junior, as it's been called by many. Hopefully you've had a great week. And it's winding down on the good side for you all. Greetings to you all, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Colleen English DeGrilla on from PALS. She's the executive director. We're going to be celebrating Social Workers Month, and she'll be discussing the important role that social workers play in the work that PALS does. The Daily Play is going to be a Name That Place today. Where's my... I'll find them, folks. Oh, here we are. I haven't gotten a question yet, but I'm sure you all will get it because you've just been on a roll lately. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Well, here are your questions for the day. We've got what are some things Bermuda should do to turn cruise passengers into long-term repeat visitors? And does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? Audience, you know, on this show, we love to find problems and provide solutions. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Again, the questions of this morning: what are some things Bermuda should do to turn cruise passengers into long-term repeat visitors? And does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? Well, what are we on about today? Well, right now, the global travel landscape is shifting. Conflict in parts of the Middle East is creating uncertainty. Long TSA lines in the US are frustrating travelers. And more people are looking for something simple, something close, something easy. And that's where Bermuda has an advantage, especially with cruise ship tourism. Yeah, but here's the problem. Thousands of visitors arrive here every year on cruise ships and then leave without ever becoming hotel guests. They come, they see a piece of Bermuda, and they're gone. So the real opportunity isn't just getting cruise ships here. It's converting those passengers into future air visitors and, more importantly, hotel guests. Because that's where the real economic value is, right? Longer stays, more spending, deeper engagement with the island and the people. So the question isn't just how many cruise passengers we get. The question is, what are we doing right now to turn those passengers into people who come back, stay longer, and invest more in Bermuda? And that's where partnership becomes critical. Partnerships between the cruise lines, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, and most importantly, local hotels. Because imagine this, a cruise passenger they usually enjoy about 2 days in Bermuda, right? Before they leave, they're offered a discounted return, stay at a Bermuda hotel. Or better yet, they're given the option to extend their stay immediately, step off the ship and into a hotel for 2 or 3 extra nights. Now, we're not just a stop, we become a destination. Yeah? So today we're asking, how do we build a system where every cruise passenger is not just a visitor, but a potential hotel or long-term guest? Something to think about. Because I tell you, they don't have to go through TSA to get on a boat. And I'm pretty sure I know at least 5 to 10 people who were planning trips to the Middle East to enjoy the desert and had those plans canceled. That's going to take some time to rebuild. I see an opportunity for Bermuda, and I know I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. So again, audience, what are your thoughts? What are some things Bermuda should do to turn cruise passengers into long-term repeat visitors? And also, just a yes or no, does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. So the conversion problem, cruise passengers, short stays. If people are spending less time, they're likely to spend less money, so limited spending. Hotel guests usually equate to longer stays and a higher economic impact. Conversion is the missing link in Bermuda tourism. Seriously, it's a missing link when you think about it. Short-term opportunities. Stay behind packages. Allow cruise passengers to disembark early, right? And stay in Bermuda for 2 and 3 nights. So instead of coming on a cruise and just staying on a cruise, allow them to, when the cruise docks, they can now rent an Airbnb, rent a home, or stay in a hotel. When that cruise leaves and they want to leave the island, they catch the cruise the next week. Am I making sense, audience? So now they're not rushed. They actually get to enjoy the island. And as they're enjoying the island, spending more time, they're spending more money. Or at least that's the hope. Yeah? Hotels can partner with cruise lines to offer bundled pricing, luggage transfer. This sounds easy. I don't know if it is. Exit incentives. Before leaving the ship, they can offer exclusive hotel discounts if they book within 30 days deals, those kind of things, right? You can do some digital capture, like collect the visitor emails data on board, retarget with hotel promotions and seasonal offers. I don't know if the cruise ships will go for that, but it's worth a conversation if it hasn't been had already. Let's think long-term strategy. Formal cruise hotel partnerships, right? Agreements between cruise lines, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, and hotel sector, with a focus on pre-post cruise stays, bundled packages, loyalty incentives. I think it was former CEO of the BTA, Charles, who says we should be doing things up in dockyard to try to convert them. I don't know if the hotels do that because, in my opinion, they look down on cruise passengers like, oh, they're not our people. Beggars can't be choosy. Beggars can't be choosy. Come back and stay campaign. Target cruise visitors after they leave. Messaging. You've seen Bermuda. Now experience it. Man, you like that line? BTA, I'll charge you for that one. But it's that simple, right? They've seen Bermuda, but now come back and experience it. Let's make it a seamless travel experience. Make it easy to extend stays, book flights, and transition from ship to hotel. Work with the local tour operators. You've got Titan Express, right? Work with them. They can help with transfers, cruise ship visitors to hotels, or even, it just doesn't have to be hotels. It could be guest homes or Airbnb or rental apartments. On-island experience matters. If the experience is rushed, limited to dockyard, they won't come back. It'll be like, oh, well, I've seen that island. No, you haven't experienced it, though. Seeing the island and experiencing the island are not one in the same. Expose cruise ship passengers to St. George's, Hamilton, local culture, food, community. I'm not quite sure cruise ship passengers get to do that. The economic argument, cruise equals volume and hotels equal value. Use cruise ship traffic to feed hotel occupancy. Seriously. And we must be honest with ourselves. Are we treating cruise ship passengers as one-time visitors or as future hotel guests waiting to be converted? Your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Again, audience question of the morning. What are some things Bermuda should do to turn cruise ship passengers into long-term repeat visitors? And does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? Let's go to the audience. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, we should be offering cruise ship passengers an opportunity to come back as air visitors by hotels and BTA sharing in the picking up of the cost of the third and fourth night if they return within 18 months. Charles, it's very simple. Or at least it should be, right? It's very simple. It should be a very, right now, especially, we haven't even discussed this as far as Bermuda goes. How's this TSA thing going to impact people coming to Bermuda? I read something yesterday. It says people should start booking their air travel now because increasing gas prices are going to make, airline tickets skyrocket over the next couple months. That's one issue. The TSA situation doesn't seem like it's going away. I read something last night that TSA is thinking of or considering, if possible, shutting down some airports because they just don't have the capacity to function. That will impact Bermuda. I don't know if the government of Bermuda has released a statement, if they think, oh, this stuff won't bother us. Like, how are we going to be looking at that? Are we going to be offering some sort of opportunity to airlines? Or I don't know what it looks like. But there's some things happening out there that are going to impact Bermuda. So I think it will be in our best interest to get ahead of it. And cruise ships may be a way around the whole travel debacle. Now, I don't know if prices will go up as well for cruise ships because I'm pretty sure they use gas. They're not sailboats, right? But it's something we should consider. But audience, again, do just a yes or no. Yes or no. Do you think Bermuda does enough to turn cruise ship visitors into long-term economic value? Do you think we've done enough to convert them? Or do you think, whatever. It's not an issue. Let the hotels do their job. We shouldn't have to pay to do the job of the hotels. Suzanne Ingham says, St. George's need cruise ship passengers. No, St. George's needs visitors. That's what St. George's needs. It's the same as Bermuda. We don't need cruise ship passengers. We need visitors. We need people. And I think that's the purpose of the conversation. How do we turn these cruise ship passengers into visitors, into long-term guests? How do we make them work for our economy? Again, Charles said it, right? Give them an opportunity to want to come back. Offer some promotional strategies. This is not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. I remember saying when I was working in Bermuda tourism, set up a hut up dockyard. Like, we're the salespeople. I know sales is one of the hardest jobs to do. I always say the reason it's one of the hardest jobs to do is because it's one of the most measurable jobs, right? You're either selling or you're not. It's not as, I like picking on marketing people, but it's not like marketing, right? I'm going to pick on the BTA because it's easy. But the Bermuda Tourism Authority, you've got this marketing department, and they love to show that they've won these new awards, right? So I'm like, well, are we in the business of delivering actual results, or are we in the business of winning awards? Because paid awards don't reflect on the job you're doing. What should reflect on the job you're doing is the numbers behind them, the real numbers. The numbers that determine whether you should be in business or not. But of course, you're not a business. You're an organization that receives a big part of your budget from the taxpayer. We need salespeople. Bermuda needs salespeople on the ground. On the ground. So that when those cruise ship passengers leave that boat, there's someone there to convince them to experience Bermuda. I always say the best salespeople are Bermudians. The best salespeople are Bermudians when it comes to Bermuda. We need an opportunity. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, this won't be easy. It will take a concerted effort. The idea is easy. The idea is easy, Charles. I think it's not rocket science to come up with the idea, but I agree with you. The execution will take a concerted effort. I absolutely agree with you. It's going to take a concerted effort to make this happen. Think about it. There was a time everyone that came to visit Bermuda was from like the Northeast, Boston, New York. All my friends in Boston now, it's like, oh, we're taking a cruise or going to Cancun. And okay, well, if they're taking a trip to Cancun, why can't we get them to take a trip to Bermuda instead of taking a cruise to Bermuda? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Folks, we're discussing with all that's going on in the Middle East and obviously the TSA line debacle in the United States, there may be an opportunity for Bermuda as far as tourism. There's a time of year we're entering soon where we have hundreds of thousands of cruise ship passengers. How do we convert those cruise ship passengers via cruise into longer term guests with real economic value? Maybe they cruise down this week and we get them to stay in a hotel so that they're not just visiting Bermuda, but they're experiencing Bermuda. And then guess what? They can take a different cruise or the same cruise back the following week. There's maybe some options. Think about it. Again, questions of the morning. We're asking, this is a yes or no audience. Does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? And what are some things Bermuda should do to turn cruise ship passengers into long-term repeat visitors? Well, Judith Welch says, no, we are not doing enough. We are not doing enough. We've got Charles H. Jeffs II. He says, it would be better than spending money on billboards, as we should be able to measure the success of the program. Charles, I said this years ago. Instead of us spending marketing dollars on certain advertising, put it into actual travelers. Put it into actual travelers, right? Like if you're spending $100,000 on a marketing ad, right, on a billboard, which you don't know how many people that's converting, versus saying I'm gonna put $100,000 into getting people tickets to Bermuda for 2 nights, but they have to stay 5 nights. His 3rd and 4th night is on them. You can actually measure that. But what do we know? What do we know? Sean Smith says, what is the cost difference between a cruise ship vacation versus air travel? Well, we shared that before on this show. I have never been on a cruise ship, but I spent on average $30K on my family 3 vacations. Yeah, it's a big difference. We shared that before on here. The BTA is very transparent with that. Cruise ship spenders are not big spenders, but that doesn't mean we cannot convert them. And that's why Charles said it's going to take a concerted effort so that we can get them to spend in Bermuda long term. Cruise ships are not as cheap as they used to be, folks. It's like the idea that people for years thought, oh, all inclusive, oh, that's cheap. Not all inclusives are created equal. And not all cruise ship experiences are created equal. Just because someone gets an all-inclusive experience or a cruise ship experience doesn't mean that it's that much less. I would encourage anyone, go find out. I'm leaving it on you because, I don't want to get any hotelier in trouble this morning, right? I called the hotel live on the air that time. But I would encourage you, someone reach out to Grotto Bay and get a price for 3 nights. Then get an airline, right? Put it all together. And then for that same period, reach out to a cruise line and see what the cost will be. I guarantee you it won't be much difference. The challenge is what those people spend on island versus cruise ship passengers. So a person staying at Grotto Bay is more likely to spend more on island versus a cruise ship passenger. That's where the difference comes in. Judith Welch says, when we go away, we rely on the taxi driver or the waitress to tell us where the best places to go in that city. The same should be happening here in Bermuda. I agree. Bermudians would be the best salespeople to sell Bermuda. Absolutely. You've got bartenders, Ricky and Curtis at Hamilton Princess. Wonderful job of discussing such with guests and telling guests where to go and what to experience. They're great at doing that. You have people in the airport that really do a great job. I mean, I wish we had more friendly faces at the airport to when people were coming to actually, welcome people and make sure you experience this, make sure you experience that. But hey, people got a job to do. But no, I agree. Bermudians should be our best salespeople, but Bermudians are not respected in the tourism space. That's the reality. Ms. Ellen Kate Horton says, what is the role of the BTA and are the experts on the BTA? The BTA's mandate is heads and beds. I mean, they take credit for the cruise ships because cruise ships numbers are large, but that's not their mandate. Their mandate is heads in hotel beds. Experts, y'all gonna make me get personal with that organization today. We're gonna ease them up. Sean Smith says, does Bermuda have affordable hotels that fits into their budget? Yes, I just said Grotto Bay. Yeah, Grotto Bay. Absolutely. I think it comes down to, it's not the hotels per se, it's the spend on island. That's the biggest difference. Again, cruise ships are not necessarily that much cheaper. Not all are created equal. We've got 911 Island Girl says, absolutely not. The cheap cruise ships, the cheap cruises mill around dockyard and swim at snorkel. Thousands of others get shuttled to Horseshoe Bay. Few take a tour. Too many walking aimlessly around town. We need more. Yeah. I don't think it's the fact that cruise ship passengers don't have the money. I think it's the fact that they don't spend the money. And I think that comes down to the ineffectiveness of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. And I say that with respect, as respectful as I can. When the BTA let us go in 2018, it was strategically done. So, remember how we were talking the other day? We were talking about company A does something bad and everyone gets mad at them, and then they just go out and they give something to charity and everyone forgives them suddenly and shows them love. Well, the BTA, the oldest trick in the playbook, right, by rich corporations and organizations, right? So they lay people off, let people go, and then they have this big political press conference about record numbers. And they hope people don't read between the lines. These record numbers involve record number of cruise ship passengers, right? And it's just fascinating to me. If there's one thing I'm going to use this platform to do is really try to open people's eyes. And I really hope that we stop being taken for a ride and allowing people to use old tactics to get by. Some of those old tactics I just want to share with you all, which you already should know, is the whole charitable thing. The whole, after, watch the behavior and patterns. Watch the behavior and patterns, right? Do something bad. Oh, well, they'll forget about it. We'll just do this for them. Any organization or group that you see doing that, they are not for you. They're not for you. All right, folks, that's your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Again, just a yes or no. Does Bermuda do enough to turn cruise visitors into long-term economic value? That's a yes or no. Just a yes or no as we go and give some thanks to Titan Express and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
All righty, folks. Hey, we had 2 birthdays this week. I don't know if I told you. Yesterday, Taj had a birthday. Taj had a birthday. Yeah. And then the day before, Larry Marshall Jr. had a birthday. Yeah. So got a couple March birthdays on the show. So we just wish those guys a happy New Year. Yeah. I just love that happy birthday tune. But folks, if you see them or if you connected with them, just make sure you share birthday wishes with both Larry Marshall Jr. and Taj. Let's go over to Teo Dill, see what he's got for us in the news break. And don't forget, really cool conversation coming up with our good friend Colleen English DeGrilla from PALS. I attended the walk last month. I don't know, not sure how many of you did the walk, but it was an amazing turnout. Love seeing so many people out there. So we're going to be discussing Social Workers Month and the important role that social workers play in the work that PALS do. All right. If you haven't already and you are streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let's go over to Teo to see what he's got for us in the news break.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. We're still the Peoples you know, just growing in new ways to meet the world ahead. In Bermuda, right now, there are up to 12 road collisions every single day. This from the BPS's Chief Inspector Robert Cardwell on yesterday's episode of TDH.
So right now, we're experiencing anywhere between 6 and 12 collisions a day. You'll appreciate those numbers are very high. Now, the challenge that creates for the Bermuda Police Service is that's a lot of police time. So each accident requires a lot of police time. And when officers are off the road investigating collisions, they're not on the road doing enforcement or responding to the gun, gang, drug problem that we're having on the island.
CI Cardwell also went on to add that the vast majority of road incidents are connected with drinking and driving or speeding. That is, actions that are entirely within our own control rather than accidents.
The trend that we're seeing right now is a lot of our collisions involve impaired drivers. We're turning up at collision scenes and finding somebody's impaired by alcohol, and they're having collisions. People are crashing all over the place because they're drinking and driving. The other major issue behind the collisions we're having is speed. The speeds on our roads have gotten far too fast. We put our roads policing guys out to go and shoot the laser, which is the speed trap everybody hears about. And in an hour, they can catch as many as 30 speeders. And those 30 speeders are in excess of 60, 70, 80 kilometers an hour. We've even put them in the hundreds. So impaired driving and speed is contributing to the collisions that we're having.
Big consequential changes are coming to Bermuda's ferry system next month, according to Tourism and Transport Minister Owen Darrell. During a live press briefing yesterday afternoon, Minister Darrell shared the new schedule launching next month with a direct end-to-end ferry route is going to increase round-trip capacity to St. George's by more than 100%.
The Monday to Saturday service will increase round-trip ferry capacity to St. George's by 133%, giving both visitors and residents better access to the East End during the 2026 summer season. The ministry has listened to residents, the ministry has listened to businesses, and the ministry has listened to stakeholders across the island. We heard a clear message. St. George's needs more ferry service to boost economic activity.
Now, remember yesterday where we talked about the government's intention to introduce a digital identity system based on the blockchain and the benefits associated therewith? Well, as promised, here are the potential risks. A blockchain-based digital identity system does promise more control, but it also introduces a different set of problems because while the system is decentralized, the entry points aren't. If somebody gains access to your digital wallet through hacking, phishing, or simple user error, they could potentially control your identity credentials. And unlike traditional systems, there's no central authority to reverse that quickly. We also have to consider permanence. That is, data written to the blockchain is extremely difficult to change. So errors, outdated information, or compromised credentials can be incredibly hard to fix. And finally, there's concentration risk. If digital identity becomes widely adopted, it creates a single system that people rely on for everything, from banking to travel, all the way through, meaning that any failure, exploit, or exclusion could have wide-reaching consequences. So the tech does increase control, but it also puts all the responsibility on the user, that is you, to keep their situation safe. Pickleball is one of the world's newest and most popular international sports, and local athletes are making a meaningful impact on the scene with more global wins than a country this small should be entitled to, frankly. The BBC, that is the British Broadcasting Company, featured local pickleball leaders in a recent story titled Bermuda's First Serve to Fastest Growing Sport. Pickleball's Bermuda origins, excerpted here.
Pickleball, you could have 12, 16 people playing on one court. You just rotate in if you want, and it includes so many more people at all different levels.
It was first seen as a senior sport. You know, old fogies play that sport, and that led to different things. But as it developed and as it has moved on, it's become a major racket sport. And that's what we need to look at in Bermuda. We always have these battles with tennis and all that. We have to look at the juniors that are developing, what opportunities are offered to them. If they can take pickleball now and get college scholarships.
And Balco's announced the winners of its annual kite safety poster competition with more than 60 entries from P1 and P2 students. Taking best overall poster is Luke Rossines of Saltus Cavendish. Shiloh Trott of Northlands wins for best kite safety message, while Ryla Thompson-Dill, also of Northlands, takes most beautiful. Raina Robinson from Saltus won most original, and Skylar De Silva of Warwick Academy is recognized for best use of mixed media. The Choice Award goes to Asai Cox of Northlands, while honorable mentions go to Josie Ellingson of BHS and Giannis DeShields of Purvis Primary. Now, as far as the weather's concerned, that nearby cold front that made yesterday so incredibly chilly is starting to ease up with improving conditions taking hold. Today should give us a mix of cloud and sunshine, with any lingering showers fading out while winds remain light to moderate, gradually settling and allowing for a calmer feel across the island with a high near 72 degrees, low near 64. Looking ahead, you can expect more sunshine and settled weather into Friday and Saturday before the next change arrives later in the weekend. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Now back to the show.
Thanks for that, Tay. You know, big up. That's Phil's son. Shiloh, big up to Shiloh and the rest of the young people for their, winning the awards from Balco. Hey, I don't know if you all remember. Wayne Cairns reminds me of P. Diddy. Remember what Suge Knight said about P. Diddy? Well, like Suge Knight was basically saying, hey, if you want to, rap career, basically, if you want to be out there and you don't want your boss all in the video dancing because that's what Diddy was doing at the time, then come over to Death Row. Why did he need to be in that picture with the young people? Like, it's not about you, bruh. Seriously, like, this is their moment. But anyway, look, as Suge Knight said, you go to, that row if you just want, you don't want your boss all in your stuff. But anyway, moving along. Days of the year, folks. Days of the year. You know what? It's make up your own holiday day today. Make up your own holiday today. Make up your own holiday. If I could make up my own holiday, if you could make up your own holiday, what would it be? If you could make up your own holiday, what would it be? If I could make up my own holiday, I would probably say International Day of Rest. I would say International Day of Rest. I think rest is something we take for granted. I think rest is something we don't value. I think there's this connotation that people who rest are lazy. No, people who rest are smart. I think we underestimate and undervalue how important rest is to our health. I remember, Larry Marshall Jr. telling me I was jogging every morning. He was like, we're discussing my heart rate. Like, why is my heart rate so high when I'm jogging? And he said, oh, rest plays a role. We don't understand the importance of it. So that said, I'm not going to tell you all what to do because you all got jobs to go. You got jobs to go to. But make up your own holiday day. My holiday would be International Day of Rest. And when I say that, everyone rest unless it's an essential job where you're literally saving lives or taking care of lives, like doctors and stuff like that. And then they get to have their International Day of Rest. But when I say everything shuts down, someone telling me recently about a day of silence somewhere. But International Day of Rest. We've got Sean Smith says Debt Forgiveness Day. Debt Forgiveness Day. Suzanne Ingham says International Day of Rest sounds absolutely great. Make it a day off. We've got Stacey Ann Brown says, I agree, Jamal. That's Jamal, she means me. International Sleep Day. Okay. Yeah. Local Whistleblower Day, says 9/11 Island Girl. Local Whistleblower Day. All right, folks, let's take a quick break. We've got a very important conversation coming up. I want you to share this. This is so important. As I say all the time, and I just share my personal experience with PALS, is I don't want other people to be like me. My hope is that we never, ever need PALS. But the truth is that some of us will. And to know, understand, contribute, support before you need them. And so I'm looking forward to another conversation with Colleen to discuss the important work. And I'm just finding out my sister's a social worker, my colleagues are social workers, many of my friends are social workers, but this month we should have been celebrating them all March. It's Social Workers Month, folks. We'll be back in a few. In the meantime, whatever platform you're on, make sure you share the conversation with your friends, family, colleagues. Give us a like, love, follow. We're back in 3:57. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
age that really matters isn't the one on your ID. You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carry Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
Welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Don't forget, audience, if you haven't already, subscribe on our website, dailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. I just want to give a shout out. I don't want to call names because you all haven't given me permission, but when I asked you to share the link and stuff like that, to those who literally put it on their WhatsApp statuses and share the link, we appreciate you. Much love to you all, because it's those things that help us beat the algorithm and make sure that the conversations are shared with those who belong in these conversations. And I'm gonna be honest, not everybody belongs in them. We want everyone to be exposed to them, right? But not everyone necessarily belongs in them, right? I said to the person who does our social media, I don't really have permission to give her name either, but I said to her yesterday, I said, I'm quite fascinated by how people respond to our short clips on social when she edits them. I said, and it's proven to me that people love controversy, not context. These short clips may come across very controversial. So our guest today may say something short, but if you don't watch the entire segment, Colleen never says nothing controversial, by the way. But my point is, she may say something, but because you haven't gotten the full context, you run with whatever she said. But controversy over context is what social media seems to be. But we provide context, community conversations, and with that said, let's give a warm welcome to our good friend, Colleen English DeGrilla from PALS. Colleen, morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I think I'm okay. I think I'm doing well. I mean, I got to ask you before we get into it, though. It's, make up your own holiday day today.
I know. I like the rest one, to be honest. I was thinking in my head, maybe a be nice to everybody day, but I don't know. The rest sounded better.
Yeah. You know what? I like that. Be kind, be nice. That might be hard for many people, especially in these times, but I actually think that's worthy. Yeah. But people make me rest so that they can be kind. Yeah. Maybe. But first,
I do have to comment on your daily discussion, though. I was a cruise ship visitor 40 years ago, and I am now living in Bermuda. And the moment I set foot in Bermuda, I said, "Oh my God, I love this place. I have to live here." And I met so many amazing people, and it's the people that made me come back.
Where'd you cruise from?
Boston to St. George, always. I didn't go past Switzerland for many, many, many years. I didn't even know there was a Hamilton.
She just made she literally just made my entire point.
I know it's true. But then I came and stayed at Grotto Bay all the time. So I did. I stopped the cruising because it took way too long to get here. And yeah.
Thank you, audience. We didn't plan this, honestly.
We didn't.
We did not plan this. But she just made my point. Boston, which I used, that's where I came from, Boston, New York. Grotto Bay, which I mentioned, and again, cruise ship passengers don't really leave the areas where they're going, like they're coming. So thank you for sharing that. Honestly,
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. But Colleen, before we even jump into today's conversation,
Yes.
I want to go back to last month because I felt privileged to be a part of the PALS Walk for the very first time, seeing so many people I love, adore, and appreciate, from just people who tune into the Daily Hour to my colleagues at BBC, to some friends from organizations I'm a part of in Bermuda, to ministers, my comedian friends, like my colleagues like Mr. Photogenic. It was just an awesome day. Speak to us a bit about that before we jump into today's convo. How did it turn out for PALS?
The walk is always amazing. You know, I mean, to me, it's not really always about the money. It's about the community, and it's about everybody coming together in memory, in honor, in support of somebody that's had cancer. We had over 1,100 people. It's our second highest. And it was just a great turnout. It almost never rains. It sprinkled a little bit, but it's a fun event. It's, I don't know, it's just very community oriented, like I said. And, you know, I was watching the news after the walk, and there was a family that said, we've done this for 10 years. And there was a boy, I mean, their son was maybe 12. So they've done it almost since he was born, and they just do it. It's a religious thing that people do every year. They remember. So it's the last Sunday of February every year. Save it in your calendar and, you know, come have some fun.
Yeah, awesome. Audience, real quickly, have you ever done the PALS Walk? Just a yes or a no. And if it's a no, it's okay.
Because it's always next year.
Exactly.
It was our 38th annual walk, so we've been doing it for quite a while.
It's not going anywhere, folks.
No.
Just give an opportunity, but let us know. Let's jump into today's discussion. So it's Social Workers Month.
It is. March is Social Work Month.
Time to highlight this profession. As I stated, my sister's a social worker. I've got close friends, social workers. My colleagues are social workers. Explain to the audience what role social workers play within PALS and the care that you all provide.
Okay. Well, so PALS historically was a nurse-led organization for, I'll say, 30 years. 40 years. I came to Bermuda as a social worker and worked at the hospital, and I knew the people at PALS, and I said, you all need a social worker. So I kept encouraging it. Well, it didn't happen until I came over, and now we do have a social worker besides me. We have Shamika Ingham, who was unable to attend today, but she's an amazing social worker. Social workers at PALS, what was happening is a lot of times there's social issues within the family that the nurse can't take on. The nurse is trying to help the patient, and then there's family stuff, and then there's money stuff, and then so that's what the social worker does. The social worker will go in and help. You know, let's say you don't know how to tell your kids you have cancer. You don't know how to talk to your family, or you're the husband and your wife has cancer and you don't know how to help her. The social worker helps with that. She helps financially, psychologically, socially. We kind of do everything you need us to do. But, you know, the social workers are very multi-talented. We can touch all avenues of your life.
It's so interesting because my sister's a social worker. And I remember when my mom was going through her time, my sister was like, look, I'm a social worker. I don't understand nursing. I think we're going to need to get help. And, you know, PALS came in and helped in that. So you explaining the difference, the nurse and social worker, I first understood it through my sister sharing. Let's go a bit deeper, though. When someone is facing serious illness, the emotional toll can be just as heavy as the physical one. How do social workers support patients through that journey?
Well, we talk to them. We give them tools. Sometimes if it's beyond what a social worker can do, we can refer you to different resources. We can refer you to an outside therapist. We also offer support groups that the social worker helps share with the psychologist, and that's for patients to talk to each other. We have a patient lounge across the hall from myself, and she is always in there with a patient. You know, some people just drop in and they're like, oh, I need to talk to someone. Oh, I'm having a bad day. And she can help them through that and just make them feel better and, you know, make them feel heard.
Yeah. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Colleen, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Families are also deeply impacted. What kind of guidance and advocacy do social workers provide to loved ones navigating these situations?
There's so many. There's from, from diagnosis through to possibly end of life, and even after end of life. The family is just, I can even say, as my mother died 10 years ago, and I thought I knew everything about death, and I did not at all. And, I learned myself that, wow, every death is different, and everybody deals with it different. And, you have to, like, I remember like crying for weeks and weeks at the end and thinking, I'm losing my mind. But then I Googled it, and they're like, sometimes this is how you have to deal with grief. And I've realized that every single person's grief is different, and you have to be able to accept that and know that, and then you can move on and, feel better. Grief is such a hard process to deal with in so many facets. I don't think you can ever learn enough about grief.
Yeah. This work requires such empathy and resilience. What does it take to be an effective social worker in a setting like PALS? Because again, there's so many. I'm only learning this because so many social workers in my life, but I'm only learning that it's very different from space to space. But in PALS in particular, what does it take?
Well, I think social work in general, you have to have boundaries. You have to be able to not take everything home. It's very hard to say because most of us do it anyway, but you have to be able to separate your life and your work. You have to, at PALS here, I have patients WhatsApping me 24 hours a day, and sometimes I answer and sometimes I don't. But, you have to be able to set boundaries, or you'll burn out very easily. And have self-care. You have to be able to, do things that are fun for you.
I was speaking to a social worker. I've spoken to two recently who have shared that social workers need a therapist too. Can you speak to us about how important it is for them to have someone to speak to so that they don't take it home and take it on?
Oh, absolutely. A therapist, an executive coach, a group of other social work friends, you definitely, you need, even here at PALS, the nurses and the social worker, we often sit in a room and just talk about, a difficult case that's going on that we don't know. Sometimes you just feel lost. Social workers, I think we feel like we can take on the world and we can do everything. And then when something doesn't go right, you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? So you definitely have to keep your head on it straight and be able to talk things through to someone that can, not judge you, but come back to you and say, well, no, you did that right. There's nothing really you could have done differently. So you definitely, for your own mental health, you need to do that.
Indeed. Audience, again, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them through. What would you say are some of the common challenges or misconceptions people have about social work in healthcare?
In healthcare, well, like at the hospitals, for instance, people think that, the social workers just kick us out of the hospital, when in general, they're supposed to help you get home and set up a plan so that you're discharged appropriately and everything's set up at home for you. The social worker is supposed to be your resource that can put everything together for you. In healthcare, particularly, we connect the resources. If you need Meals on Wheels, if you need outside people to come in, a physio or an occupational therapist, we're the person that kind of tries to organize it all for you. So that's, I think, our role in healthcare.
Indeed. There are people who, again, have never experienced PALS. They don't know. They hope they'll never need PALS.
Yes.
But should they ever find themselves in a space where they need PALS, at what point does the social worker meet with them?
It can be from the very beginning. Sometimes I think someone was admitted yesterday and they needed to talk to a social worker and she came right in. So it generally is when a person, when they get admitted by a nurse, they will be told, we have a social worker, we have a doctor. If you need the social worker, let us know. Sometimes it's, I have to go overseas for treatment. I need help paying my hotel. I need help paying my airfare. So the social worker will meet with them and do a financial assessment. Sometimes it's I don't know how to tell my grandchildren, all these things that come up in an initial assessment. The nurse would be like, okay, I'm going to connect you to the social worker. So sometimes it could be from your first day, or you might not need the social worker for a year or two.
With the PALS walk done, we always ask, how can people support PALS and the like, but in social workers in particular, what are we doing to celebrate the importance, the value, the work that they're doing? How can the community get behind social workers, and particularly the next few days in March, to ensure they feel valued and respected?
I always say thank a social worker. You know, I talked about my mom. My mom had a social worker 10 years ago, and I recently on Facebook wrote to her and I said, you know, you impacted my life so much as a social worker. And I say this one quote that you said to me all the time. And she was like, what? That was 10 years ago. But it's still like we don't know how much of an impact we have in people's lives until, you know, I've seen people in grocery stores and they're like, you earbagged my son, don't you remember? And, you know, so I think that just saying thank you don't know what you did, or thank you for all you do, is definitely goes a long way in a social worker's world.
Another angle for those who are tuned in and may feel called to this kind of work, what would you say about the impact and the importance of becoming a social worker, not just in PALS, but overall?
I definitely feel it's a calling. I think you feel like, you know, you want to help people, you want to do stuff. I mean, a lot of times it's people that have seen social workers in their life that have done good. It definitely go for it, or talk to a social worker. I remember when I first moved to Bermuda, a young girl wanted to be a social worker. She was, 12 or 13, and I talked to her for a long time. And she since later became a student of mine at BHB, and she's now a manager out in the community, and I love it. I mean, if you think you want to be a social worker, talk to a social worker, and, you know, talk to a couple and talk to different areas, because social work is so varied and in so many areas. You know, you could do it, you could be a DCFS social worker, you could be a financial assistant social worker, there's a therapist, you could do so many avenues. So talk to different social workers and see, you know, where you think you want to be.
Indeed. Colleen, before you head out, how can people get in touch with PALS if they just want to support, if they may be in need of assistance, just to connect?
Yeah. www.pals.bm, or just call us. We're always very friendly, very open. You can walk in. People walk in all the time to say, how can we help? You know, I might need help. I think I have cancer, or my brother has cancer, whatever. You know, we're here. We're here Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5, and Fridays, 9 to 3. And we're always available to chat. And our website pretty much tells you a lot of stuff of what we do. And yeah, just stop in.
I think I speak for many when we say thank you for the work that you all do. It's greatly appreciated. Again, my hope when we do these shows and have these conversations with people from PALS in particular is that people are more knowledgeable than I was when we needed them. So I'm really hopeful that when I say, you know, audience, to share this conversation with your friends, family, and colleagues, like there are resources available. And I'm grateful that PALS trusts this platform to engage so that you all know exactly how they can help you if there's ever a need. But thank you, Colleen, to yourself, and colleagues, and we look forward to the next conversation.
Yes, thanks so much.
All right, talk soon.
All right,
Colleen
bye.
DeGrilla, folks, from PALS. And I forgot to go. I did ask Stacey Ann Brown, said no, she hasn't done the PALS walk. We're working on you, Stacey. We've got you for next year. Suzanne Ingham says yes. So we've got you as well, Suzanne. We've got you. And Suzanne, yes. I'm sorry I forgot to go to comments. My sincere apologies, audience. Says PALS takes on every facet of life with PT and family, patient and family. So thank you all for supporting them. And again, if you appreciate the work that PALS is doing, the conversation that we had this morning, make sure whatever platform you are streaming on, you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Again, this is an organization you want to know about before you need them. Find ways to support them if you can. I always tell people, and as she said it's not just about the money. Honestly, there's more ways to support them than just not everyone has money to give, but there are other ways that you can support. Go check them out, pals.bm. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back after this break. I've got a daily play for you, and you all better not let yourselves down. All right, stick with us.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need. From top quality foods to toys and supplies, we've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
The Office of Consumer Affairs protects residents by promoting fairness, safety, and transparency in the marketplace across the island. We investigate complaints, manage recalls, educate the public, and enforce consumer protection laws to ensure fair treatment for all. Our team supports consumers by resolving disputes, providing guidance, and helping residents understand their rights and responsibilities. We work with businesses to encourage compliance, ethical practices, and trust, helping create a stable and competitive economy. Through education, enforcement, and outreach, Consumer Affairs helps keep Bermuda's marketplace safe, informed, and accountable.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Colleen English DeGrilla and everyone at PALS who continues to trust this platform to have these most important community conversations. I want to give a big thanks to the BAC group of companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5, ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, if you haven't already, do us that favor. Make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. New Sports Edition is in stores now. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? It is a Name That Place today. Well, yeah. Audience, how many countries make up the United Kingdom? You all walk around with these UK passports and you don't know how many countries make up the United Kingdom? My goodness. Of course, it's not showing up on my screen, but as I look to the left, I see that, this is why I tell you, I look to the left, I got it up on my iPad. Mark Arthur said 4, Stacey Ann Brown said 4. So now it's coming up. See, it's now coming up. It's a little delayed. Mark Arthur said 4, Stacey Ann Brown said 4, Zena Woolrich said 4, and Suzanne Ingham said 3 or 4. What are the 4 countries? What are the 4 countries? Can we name them that make up the United Kingdom? What are the 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom? Yeah, I just said, let me give you a bonus. Yeah, let's do a bonus question. You know, since you all love this part of the show so much, let's give you a bonus question. Let us know the 4 countries. I'll wrap it up. But as far as the discussion this morning, we couldn't have chose a better topic for the guest that we had, because she literally is the example of what the conversation was about. And I really hope our social media person snaps that, right, to make it one full conversation. But I share that because that's a perfect example of what we were discussing, audience. We have to find a way to turn cruise ship visitors into long-term economic value. For years, so many people were going to the Middle East, in particular the UAE, and vacationing. Right now, people are upset at the wait lines at TSA check lines in the airports. You know, I always say about entrepreneurship, sometimes there's opportunity in the problems. And I see opportunity for Bermuda here, and finding ways to work with cruise ships to turn cruise ship passengers into long-term economic value. As far as the conversation with Colleen, I am grateful for the work they do. I can't state it enough. And I just want to say, send a lot of love to all the social workers out there doing the work. There's a lot. Some of the stories that I hear, the things that I see, I don't have the mental capacity to be able to do what they do. I'm grateful that they've chosen to do it, because without them, trust me, the world would be a bit more unstable. And some of you are saying, well, it's already unstable. Yeah. They do incredible work, thankless jobs. And I just want to show them some love. So happy Social Worker Month for at least almost another week. All right. So I asked the 4 countries. Mark Arthur said Northern Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland. Yes, absolutely. Everyone got that. Siobhan Postlethwaite, Stacey Ann Brown, Suzanne Ingham, not Ireland, Northern Ireland, Suzanne. We've got Zena Woolrich, not Ireland, it's Northern Ireland, Manuela. Yes. So, all right, folks. Well, I got to give you some daily inspiration to, let you go. So let me just pick a page in the, again, don't forget, audience, this is my book right here. This is the book. Yep. Going on sale in May. So let's find something in the book. Oh, I love this one. This is a good quote right here. And it goes with rest day too. Separation is key to maintaining a healthy mental state. Don't be afraid to give friendships a break, even family. Sometimes it's necessary. I said rest day, take a break day. And take a break means just a break from everyone and everything sometimes. All right, folks. We've got to get, Suzanne Ingham says, I'm patiently waiting for your book, Jamel. Sign mine, please. Yeah, I will sign yours. Absolutely. All right, folks, we've got to get out of here. All right. So do not forget, in the meantime, to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio areas with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.